Bitcoin chart to see if we're in a bull market or bear market. It's actually really interesting. And something else I'm going to talk about is this right here. On less than $2,200, I've earned over $600 in the last 30 days in Bitcoin and stablecoin. If you want to learn how to do that, we're using DeFi. And if you want to learn how to do that, I actually have a whole course over here at dailycryptobull.com. And for a very, 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 very limited time, this step-by-step video course is on sale, usually $1,000, just $97.99. Go get that. You're going to be very happy if you did. Very, very happy. And here is what the course actually looks like. It's all videos, step by step, showing you how to do all this stuff. Also shows you how to get about $100 in free Bitcoin right off the bat. Wallet setups, how to use the sites, my favorite ones. Definitely go check it out. Again, on $2,200, I've earned over $600 in Bitcoin and stablecoin in the last 30 days. So definitely go check that out. I'm gonna wait for people to roll in before we go live. Usually some people have come in by now. I don't know what's going on with YouTube today. There's one person. Hello, hello. We're going to be talking about the Bitcoin chart here today. I'm going to wait for some more people to come in. Drop in the comments, if you can, where you're tuning in from. Gaming is cool. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hopping in. Okay, now we got 8 people in here. It took a little longer than usual for people to come in. We're going to be talking about today, we're going to be analyzing the Bitcoin chart, trying to figure out if it's more probable that we're in a bull market or a bear market. FYI, I want to be in a bull market, but what I want has nothing to do with what's really going to happen. So I look at this objectively. I'm going to share with you what I see. It's going to be very interesting if you haven't heard it before. Thank you for all the emojis. Hello, hello. Drop in the comments real quick while we wait for more people to come in before I get started. By the way, this is a live, so it's going to be recorded and published on my channel. Drop in the comments, where are you tuning in from? Where are you tuning in from today? Thank you for the likes coming in. Where are you guys tuning in from today? Are we international? I'm in America, in the Pacific Northwest, if the flannel didn't give it away. But what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at this chart here today, the Bitcoin chart, and comparing it with the RSI and some other things to help us understand if we're in the bull market or the bear market. Kind of cool. All right. You know what? I'm in Amara AI. Okay. All right. Well, let's just get started here. So this is the Bitcoin chart, the monthly Bitcoin chart, okay? It means every single one of these candles has a month of price action, the low to the high and everything in between. So let's just start by looking at the actual Bitcoin chart without the other indicators there. This chart is the lifetime chart of Bitcoin. Look at this. It goes all the way back to October 2009. October 2009, America, okay, I see. So this was the first ever bull market, right? And it topped right here in December 13. Now, something I really want you to understand is right here, 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 and here, Those are what are called the Bitcoin halvings, the Bitcoin halving events. And what that means is the amount of Bitcoin that can get mined per day gets cut in half. Back here, they could mine 7,200 Bitcoin a day. 3,600, 1,800, 900. Right now, you can only mine 450 Bitcoin a day. Not you. Everybody that mines Bitcoin as a whole splits up 450 Bitcoin a day, okay? And you can see price action going up after those. The thing I want you to understand is look at this. So 2012, 2016, 2020, 24, those are the halving years. So when I say post-halving year, that would be 2013, 2017, 2021, and 2025 this year, okay? When I say post-halving, very important to understand that lingo. So look at this, right? We have the halving, we run up, when do we top? Q4, post-halving year, interesting. How about the next bull run? When do we top? Q4, post-halving year. Q4 meaning October, November, December, the fourth quarter of the year. All right, well, when do we top next time? Oh, November, Q4 of the post-halving year. Where are we right now? Q4 of the post-halving year. And our highest spot to date was in October. That is Q4 of the post-halving year. Okay, that's interesting. But that alone doesn't say, okay, well, now we've topped. You know, that's one thing. But let's look at some more pieces of data to help us get a more broader picture to increase our probabilities of understanding what's happening and what's gonna happen. Does that make sense? Drop in the comments. Does that make sense? Put a 1 in the chat. Does that make sense? Right? If we can find more and more pieces of data that line up to support something, that point towards something, I'm not trying to put a bias in here. I want the markets to go up, but I can't take my bias into this when analyzing. Does that make sense? So every time, 3, possibly 4 times of all the bull markets, the first 3 all topped in Q4 of the post-halving year. And here we are in the post-halving year, potentially looking at a top for this cycle, okay? Now, let's look at something else. This is something called the RSI, the Relative Strength Index, okay? Think of it as momentum. And look at when we get way up here in this first bull market, we got way up here in the green greedy zone, which is called overbought. Very high RSI. RSI goes between 0 and 100. This got very close to 100, got way up there. As a matter of fact, what did it get to? Not that it necessarily matters. The green does the job of telling the story, but it got all the way up to 95. You know, it goes all the way up to 100. So it got very, very overbought. And now I want you to understand that this gray dotted line right here, that is neutral. This is overbought, this is oversold. During the bull market, we just keep making high, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low. That's actually a lower high and then a lower low, okay? Remember that. Over here, what happened? We just kept going higher, high, higher, low the whole time to the 2017 bull market top, and then we came down here and made a lower low. And then it was bear market on. Same thing back here, bear market on. Over here, 2021, we got into the deep greedy zone again. High, higher high, higher low, higher high, still a low, not a lower low, then a lower high, then a lower low. Uh-oh. And then what happened? Bear market bottom. Where are we today? Where are we today? Take a look. All the way up from the bear market bottom in 22, high, low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, lower high, lower low in Q4 of 2024. Isn't that wild? Isn't that crazy? So you understand what I'm saying here is that when we get way overbought in the post-halving year, it starts coming down, and when it makes a lower low in the RSI, that's the coup de grace. That is confirmation of the downtrend. Same thing happened here. Same thing happened back here. 1, 2, 3 times. Do I want to bet that this time is different? So far, it's not looking like I have any reason to. Again, I want the markets to go up, okay? I want that. But what I want has nothing to do with what's going to happen. What you want has nothing to do with what's going to happen. I hope you understand that. So look at this. Here we are, making a lower low. So here's something that's really important to understand, right? Now that we look at that type of stuff, look at this. We were all the way up here at 12,040, right, in Q4 of the post-halving year, and then we came down a lot to right here, all the way down to 340 bucks, which was also lined up perfectly with that lower low in the RSI. Well, then what happened next? We had a bounce up to the 200-day moving average, that yellow line right there. It was rejected, dropped down to the bear market bottom. RSI went down below neutral for the first time and last time. And then consolidated, started going back up again for a few years. What happened over here? Q4, post-halving year, come down, we finally make a lower low right here. What happens? Well, price went all the way down to 5,700 from 20,000, okay? And then what happened? It bounced from 5,700 to almost 8,500 within about a month or so. And then what happened? It went up to the yellow line, that's where it bounced to, the 200-day moving average, and then rejected to the bear market bottom, okay? RSI again went what? Went below the neutral zone for the first time. And that called the bottom, and then it started going up, 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 up until we peaked. But then we had something interesting happen. We had this. We had a high and a higher high. We have a high and a lower high. Does anybody know what that's called when that happens? When you have price making a high and then a higher high? But you have some other indicator making a high and a lower high? That's called a bearish divergence. Because as you can see, a lot of indicators, especially the RSI, typically moves along with whatever the chart's doing. But when it starts to go counter against it, this tells you that momentum is slowing. Excuse me, let me get some coffee real quick. Thank you for the likes coming in. Be sure to hit the follow button if you haven't yet. And then over here, right, we have a drop, not quite making a lower low, but lining up with this one and then bouncing, making that lower high. Although we made a higher high in price, went 64,000, 69,000. This is a bearish divergence indicating a massive slowing in momentum. What happened? We dropped. We made our first lower low in the RSI. And where did that bring us to? Brought us from 69,000 to just under 33,000. And then what happened? Well, we bounced. We bounced over the next couple months up to 48,000. Going up to the yellow line, 200-day moving average, just like we did here, just like we did here, and then rejected into the bear market bottom, and RSI again finally went below the neutral zone into the oversold zone, and that was the bear market bottom. So 3 straight times, that's the exact pattern that played out. Except for this time, we actually had, in 2021, we actually had a bearish divergence. So it was even screaming the signal more. So where are we today? Are you guys getting this? Are you guys getting this? Because we're going to look at today. Are you ready to look at today? Thanks, Rahul. Are you ready to look at today? Because there's been 3 bull to bear markets in history for Bitcoin. They've all had the same pattern, have the same signals to tell us when it's now a downtrend, something that you may call a bear market. 3 straight times, 3 for 3. So if it were happening today, should we just ignore it? Again, I want the price to go up. So my bias would say, yeah, ignore it. But my logic, my objectivity would say, no, you can't ignore it, you have to look at it. Indicator names, just the RSI, Relative Strength Index. And then what happens here? This is where we are today. We made a high, right? High, lower high, or higher low, high, lower low, higher low, goddamn, high, low, higher high, higher low, higher low. Then we had a lower high. Uh-oh, that happened back here, and that was signs of the end. High, low, high, uh-oh. We made a higher high here. High, higher high, even higher high. High, higher high, lower high. Uh-oh. And then what happened? The RSI has now made a lower low. That was the signal here, here, here. Well, here actually. That the downtrend had started and we were in a bear market. Now, the same thing happened here, here, and here after that signal. Are you paying attention? Do you remember what happens? The previous 3 times, which is, there's only been 3 times, so 3 for 3. When we did this, when we made this lower high in the RSI, lower low, excuse me, we bounced up to the 200-day moving average, which is that yellow line. And currently, the 200-day moving average is about It's about 107 or so. Having trouble lining up on it. 105 to 107, okay? So within the next 1 to 3 months, right, I would say by sometime in March, before or by, we should have a bounce to the 200-day moving average. And it's really important to understand that when we get that bounce, you know what it's going to be like? The sentiment of everybody is going to completely change. Completely change. They're going to be so bullish. They're going to be, here we go, we're so back. Look at, we got quantitative easing, we got a new Fed chair coming in, we got a pro-crypto president, all this stuff's going to come in. Liquidity's rising, all this stuff. And it's going to go to the 200-day moving average, and everyone's going to get real bullish, and then it's going to rug pull their ass and reject hard down into the bear market bottom. Now, can I guarantee that? Of course not. But that's where the probabilities lie. I mean, 70, 80% that that's how it plays out. This is our fourth bull market. We've had 3 before. All 3 of them, when they did this exact thing, these multiple steps, ding, 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 it said bear market. And now at this point, the next thing that should happen should be a bounce to the 200-day moving average, which is about 107. And then it'll hang out there for a minute. Altcoins will probably rally a bit. And then something will happen. Something will probably happen that creates fear in the market, and it'll just dump like crazy. Maybe it has to do with the yen carry trade. Maybe. And my target, right, my target for the bear market bottom, the first ever bull to bear market went down 87%. The second one went down 83. The one in 22 went down 77. So I think this one goes down somewhere between 60, 70%, which would put us somewhere between 35 and say 50, 55,000. I think it probably hits somewhere around 45 if I got to pick a number, right? But you're gonna have to be patient for that, if that's the way it plays out. And we got to see what happens, because it's got to bounce up to the 200-day moving average. That's a very likely move, that it bounces up to the 200-day average, 200-day moving average, which is 107-ish about now, so give or take a couple $1,000 when it happens. And then we'll have to wait and see, like, okay, is it going to get past it? Because if it gets past it, well, then bull market back on most likely, probability shift. But if it struggles at it and gets rejected, it's like, well, here we go. And it'll be next probably 3 to 6 months after that to find the bear market bottom. That's my analysis. That's my analysis. Yeah, Rahul's got a lot of questions. Indicator name, I think I already answered that. But that's what I think. That's kind of my analysis there. Not even kind of, that is my analysis. And there's a lot of just waiting. Like investing, there's just a lot of waiting. Another thing to really look at here is other moving averages, right? Like look at this. Now, it pulled all the way back to the orange line. That's a moving average. Which moving average is it? Let me click on it. That is the 200-day, I believe. No, not 200-day. 200, must be 200 month. That's weird. And then, or no, it was the 50. Okay, that makes way more sense. The 50-week moving average, 50-month moving average, excuse me, right there. And the green is a 21, and the 100-week is the red, right? And you can see that we came down to the orange, the 50-week came down to the orange, bear market bottoms. This time we plunged below and went down to the 100-week moving average. So I would think that this time we plunge to at least the 100, which again, right around 45,000. That's why if I had to pick a number, that's exactly what it is, because I think it comes somewhere around, I think it drops somewhere between 60, 70%, and that moving average right there, I mean, look at that. That was the bear market bottom in 22, bear market bottom in 2018, bear market bottom in 2014. I mean, should that just be ignored? Should that just be ignored? Should that just be ignored? Coincidence, man, coincidence. No, come on, don't be silly. So it probably ends up coming down to at least the 100-week moving average somewhere in the next 6 to 10 months. Because another thing to really pay attention to, check this out, is that, you know, look here. We peaked in November of 21. When did we bottom? November of 22, Right here, we peaked in December of 17. When did we bottom? December of 18. Uh-oh. We peaked right here in December of 13. When did we bottom? January of 15. So, uh-oh, that was 13 months later, 12 months, 12 months. So, like I said, if this was the top back in October at 126 on October 6th, then, you know, all the things point to the probabilities favoring that we're in a bear market and it's going to bottom probably around October of next year. Could it bottom sooner? It could. Could it bottom a little later? Maybe. But it just seems apparent to me the probabilities heavily favor that we are in a bear market. And I don't want that to be true. I want to be in a bull market. I want shit to just go up like crazy. But what I want has nothing to do with what's going to happen, right? And so I can't ignore the probabilities. I can't ignore the signals. I can't ignore the charts and the data. I have to accommodate my strategy to best benefit from it. Does that make sense? Hit the like button if you haven't yet. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you get notified when I go live. Some of you may know me from TikTok. I mostly do TikTok, but I decided to do YouTube today. Way less people on here on YouTube for me. When I'm on TikTok, over the course of a live stream, I'll probably have about 5,000 people and at least 100 people at any given moment. You know, you got 3, 4, 5 of you here, so it's a much more intimate setting. But I wanted to try it out today. See how well it did. You know, you can TikTok, but now YouTube. Cool, Antonio. So one thing that I've been doing, in case you were wondering, one thing that I've really been doing to accommodate for the downtrend is I've been using DeFi. And on this position right here, which, you know, around $2,200, that's all I have in there in this position. In Bitcoin, it's in Bitcoin and Tether. This is a liquidity pool. In the last 4 days, I've earned $64, which is paid to me in Bitcoin and stablecoin. And over the last roughly 30 days, I've earned $625 in Bitcoin and stablecoin on just that position. I mean, that means in a month, I've earned what? Almost 30% or so in Bitcoin and stablecoin. So can you guys hear me? A phone call came in. Can you guys hear me? A phone call came in and I don't know what that does to the live stream. I'm gonna assume you can hear me. Oh, Zion says yes. So what I'm doing over there is I'm using DeFi. You know, I figure 1 to 2 billion people on the planet have ever bought or sold a crypto coin, but way less than 1% of them know how to use DeFi. And so the opportunity is just insane. Like, I'm literally every day getting free Bitcoin and stablecoin. Crazy. What? Sounds like a scam. Sounds too good to be true. No, here's how it works. Well, let me explain it to you. I mean, how does Coinbase make money? How does Coinbase make money? They charge fees when people do transactions, right? When you want to swap your stablecoin to Bitcoin or your Bitcoin to stablecoin, they charge a fee, about 1 to 1.5%. And that's where they make a lot of their money. Well, guess what? By the way, Coinbase is a centralized exchange. And I like Coinbase. But over in DeFi, we have decentralized exchanges, which means that you, me, anybody can be Coinbase. Whoa, and pay way lower fees as a user. So my yield that I'm getting here, instead of paying 1 to 1.5% on Coinbase, when people want to swap their Bitcoin to stablecoin or stablecoin to Bitcoin, they pay way less than that, 1/20th of a percent. But you know what? That fee goes to me because I'm Coinbase. And you can be Coinbase too. This is what I've earned on just $2,200 of Bitcoin and stablecoin. I've earned in the last 4 days, $64. Half of it in Bitcoin, half of it in stablecoin. In the last 30-ish days, I've earned $600. Isn't that crazy? So I've went extra heavy into using DeFi in this, what I estimate to be a down period, because it'll allow me to just passively, for free, stack Bitcoin. right? Because half of that yield that I'm getting is Bitcoin, and the other half is stablecoin. Take a wild guess at what I plan on doing with the stablecoin. What do I do with the stablecoin? You have any guesses? Is there an unlock period? There's 0 unlock period. None of that. That's a good question. I can claim this immediately, anytime I want. I can close my position, add my position, whatever I want. There is no lockup or anything like that. I forgot what my question was now. Oh, what do I do with the stablecoin, right? Because obviously I'm using this to just stack Bitcoin, right? For free passively. But what do I do with the stablecoin? You want to know what I do with that? I take that stablecoin and I go put it out into another strategy that I call Be the Bank, right? Over here, I call this being Coinbase because I'm getting fees every time people swap from that coin to that coin or vice versa. And then my Bitcoin I send off to a different wallet, and the stablecoin I take over here and I get almost 10%, and I just let it stack. I just let that stablecoin grow into more stablecoin. And you want to know what I'm doing with that stablecoin? I'm building the war chest so that when Bitcoin comes down to here, I dump it all into Bitcoin. Quite a Bitcoin accumulation strategy, and I'm patient. You know, I want Bitcoin's bottom to take as long as possible, because by using DeFi, I'm going to be every day I'll be building more and more and more stablecoin and more Bitcoin, and as price goes down, more and more cheap Bitcoin. Pretty wild, right? Be the exchange and now be the bank, exactly. And one other strategy I call Be the House, which is another place that I put stablecoin. Over here, let me show you that actually. Over here, by being the house, over the last year, this protocol's paid about 75% on stablecoin. And how does that work? Well, you know what the house is, it's a casino, right? So then there's gamblers, but they're called traders. You know, they take out longs and shorts and leverage. Well, most traders by far lose money. So the house always wins. And that's why that yield is so high. You got to know where the yield is coming from, right? And that's where it's coming from. And the other one, which was about 10%, I called Be the Bank, we're lending, right? We'll go deposit stablecoin and people can come borrow our stablecoin. And it's not risky because people can come borrow, before they can borrow the stablecoin, they have to put up collateral, right? If they want to borrow $1,000 of stablecoin, they probably got to put up $1,500 of collateral. And the protocol itself monitors the collateral. Say the collateral, they borrowed 1,000, put in 1,500 of collateral. Maybe it was in Solana, maybe it was in Ethereum, some other coin, maybe it was other stablecoin. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But when that collateral comes down too close to how much they borrowed, like say it comes down to 1,200, the protocol automatically liquidates that collateral to pay you back plus your interest. Crazy, right? That's Be the Bank. Be the House, well, when traders lose, that money goes to the house. That's us. And we just get to stay in stablecoin that way. So I'm using all three of these strategies to, one, build up a lot of stablecoin passively for free, and build up a lot of Bitcoin passively for free. And really, it's all about getting Bitcoin, because all that stablecoin, when we get to the bear market bottoms, which is where the probabilities favor, which will probably be sometime mid to late next year, then I'll dump all that stablecoin I've earned and buy Bitcoin. It's all a longer term Bitcoin accumulation strategy. Are you guys liking this at all? Are you guys getting this? Are you liking this? Is this kind of like really getting your gears turning about what's possible? Would you like to learn how to do this? Thanks, Zion. Antonio says yes. Well, if you go over to dailycryptobull.com right there, take a screenshot, that helps you. You can get my whole course showing you how to do all this stuff, right? So it's all video step by step. Look at that crazy face. All video step by step, right? This is the intro, just telling you, what to expect, what to do, what not to do, stuff like that. And then before we even get started, I got some links that you can get up to $100 in free Bitcoin. You know, if for some reason you don't have a Coinbase account, there's a link for $30 right there. If you don't have a Gemini account, well, I mean, shit, there's $50. And if you don't have a Fold account, there's $20. Free Bitcoin right off the bat. Then I show you how to set up your wallets. You'll need wallets to be able to interact with DeFi. This is the one I use on the Solana network. This is the one I use on Ethereum and layer 2s and stuff like that. Okay, and I show you how to set all those up and keep them safe. And then I get right into the strategies. The first strategy is be the bank. I have 3 different places that I do that, you know, right there. At the time of me recording it, I was getting around 11%. It's a pretty solid 10%. And then I show you 3 different places to do that, all videos step by step. And then we get to be the house. There's 2 different places that I show you, including the one that's currently earning around 70%. All videos step by step, and then finally be Coinbase. That's where I was getting the free Bitcoin and stablecoin. And if you want, I have 2 other videos. This one shows you step by step. If you prefer to earn Solana or you want to earn Solana too, this is the best place to earn Solana that I show you in this video, and this is the best one to earn Ethereum in this video. All videos step by step, and they're pretty hands-off once you get up and running and actually learn how to do this. You know, like this is my favorite Coinbase strategy. This is earning me Bitcoin and stablecoin, and I'm 100% focused on getting Bitcoin. But if you wanted, you know, you could be getting, let me show you what kind of yields are going on with Ethereum right now on the place I show you for that. We go to liquidity, wait for it to load. If it'll load, my computer's going a little slow. There's some pretty nice yields on Ethereum too, because you could be earning Ethereum at about 100% yield. It's not really loading for me. And here's my favorite place to earn Solana. As a matter of fact, right now there's Solana USDC. That's, you know, shit, that's paying 156% right now. You'd be earning Solana and USDC. So that's what the whole course does. You know, I've used probably over 1,000 different DeFi protocols. And in the training, I show you my 8 favorite, so the 8 flowers I've found. My 3 favorite be the bank strategy sites, my 2 favorite be the house, and my 3 favorite be Coinbase, right? Being the bank and being the house is all about stablecoin and growing stablecoin. Being the house is more about accumulating Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, but you also accumulate stablecoin too. I mean, with that being said, if I get this thing to load, there's a pool you could be in that you could actually be earning Ethereum and Bitcoin, stuff like that. I'll show you the link one more time if you want to go get the course. Take a screenshot, that helps you. I normally charge $1,000 for that course, by the way. And you can see, like, look, in my teaching wallet here, about 30 days ago, I put in $2,200. And I've earned $600 in like 30 days of Bitcoin and stablecoin. Is that worth $1,000? Yeah, definitely. You can put in more money and be earning a lot more. But for a very, very limited time, as a matter of fact, just during the stream, you can get it for less than $100, $97.99. There you go, there's the link. Get it, don't get it, I'm good either way. All right, what else you guys want to talk about? Remember Bitcoin at 75K, everyone thought it was over and then it hit 120? I do, but that was a different circumstance. Like, that wasn't me. The charts didn't show that. The charts didn't show that that was the probability. The charts did not show that that was the probability. Like, let me zoom into the daily here. Let me show you part of what I mean. Let me show you part of what I mean. Like, look, for instance, look at how this was the pullback for Bitcoin from March 24 to August 24. You see, it held the line on the moving average, the green moving average, which is the 50-day moving average. It held it. Okay, and same thing back here when it peaked in December at around 10 what? Maybe it was January. Got up to what, 109? Yeah, 109. And then pulled back into the tariff stuff, down to like 74 or so. Where'd it go? Green line, moving average. But what happened this time? This time it has plummeted through the 50-day moving average. That's what's called a break of structure, right? And you can see, once we get, this was the bear market bottom in 22 after FTX. We came up above the 200-day moving average, which is the yellow, and then we got up here above the 50-day moving average, right? That's the green line. Excuse me, it's not a 50-day, it's a 50-week. This green line is the 50-week. Once it got above it back here in March of 23, which was almost 3 years ago, it never came back below it. When it's above that, we're in an uptrend. Even here, it got supported at it, and here it got supported, but this time it broke way through. Yet another indicator of why we're in a downtrend. I hope that makes sense. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope this shit just rockets up. But what I want doesn't matter. This is, everything just says we are in a downtrend, in a freaking bear market. And the next likely move is, if my computer will load, a bounce to the 200-day moving average, which is this yellow line right here, which is about 107. Because that's what, at this point, right, when we've made this lower low in the RSI, broken below, this is the 2-week now, broken below the neutral, this is all saying we're in a downtrend, which you may call a bear market. And it should last about a year. And the top was in October. So we should find a bottom somewhere between now and next October. True, this time does look different. Oh, you mean the break of structure? Yeah, we broke structure, and not just a little bit. Smashed it, obliterated it, and haven't even come back to try to get back above it. Nothing looks, again, it's all about probabilities. But I'd say it's about an 80% probability. Everything I look at just shows me lower. But with that being said, my estimate for where the bottom's going to be is about 70%, 60 to 70%, which would be the lowest decline from bull market top to bear market bottom Bitcoin's ever had. The first bull market to bear market was 87%, second one 83, third one 77. So it's been dropping less and less. So this time about 70 makes sense. That's a little bit more a speculation by me, but it also lines up with other moving averages and stuff like that. For instance, let me show you something else. I'll dive into something else, but I wanna say it one more time. There is nothing that can benefit you more right now than learning how to use DeFi. Go over to dailycryptobull.com and get this step-by-step video course. During the stream, it's not even $100 during the stream. And like I showed you, on $2,200 over the last roughly 30 days, I've earned over $600. I show you how to do this exact thing and a lot of other things. And I'm earning Bitcoin and stablecoin. Look, this is over the last 4 days. I've earned that in Bitcoin and stablecoin. Doesn't take long to get back $100, you know what I mean? But I can't give it away for free. Because if I give stuff away for free, people don't use it. They really, really, really don't. I've learned that so much over time. With both people pay, they pay attention. I mean, I'll get back into the content here. I just want to say one other thing. Imagine this skill that's DeFi. Imagine if you knew that back in January. Imagine where your portfolio would be today. Imagine what that Bitcoin you would have accumulated passively for free would be worth today. What it'll be worth in 5 years, 10 years. How many more days do you want to go by and not be earning free fucking Bitcoin and stablecoin and ETH and Solana? Just saying. And during the stream, it's not even $100. And if you go through the course and you don't think it's worth $100, I'll give you your money back. Take action. So going back over here, one thing to look at, like I said, the pattern has been this. First bull market, once we made a low in the RSI, this is the 2 week now, so it's a bit different chart. But once it comes down here, right? Then it bounces, then it drops to the bear market bottom, okay? What happens in the next one? Comes down here, bounces to the 200, drops to bear market bottom. Again, once we made lower lows in the RSI. In the last bull to bear market, same thing. Made a lower low, lower high even, and a lower low in the RSI. And then we bounced. And then we dropped to the bear market bottom. So what I want to look at, because that's where I think we are right now. I think we're right here. Right here. And, oh no, I just moved the fucking halving event. That sucks. And I think we're kind of right here. And that's where we are today. So we're probably going to bounce to 200 and get rejected. So looking at previous ones, right? We, like say the last one, we were up here at 69,000. We dropped to 33,000. Well, where was the bear market bottom? About 15,500. So let's pull out the calculator. 15,500 divided by 33,000. That's about 47%. So about 50%. Okay, let's go to the last one, or the 2017 one. What do we go down? What were we at? Well, it doesn't matter. Right here. We're at 57.43. What do we go down to? 31.24. So let's go 3,100 divided by 5,700. You know, around 50%. And then the one before it, when it came down here. Excuse me. 340. And where was the low? 166. Let's pull out the calculator. 166 divided by 340. About 50%. So if that's where I think we are today, in that first leg down, then we should go down about another 50% from where we're currently at. And what did we go down to? We went down to 80. So half of that, somewhere around 40, which puts us right here in this target. Just so many things lining up. And I don't have much evidence to support that this time is different. I just don't. Facts, it's worth it. Thanks, Zion. Very much so. Like, I assume you're speaking about DeFi. Like that position I'm in over here, which I show you how to get it. Step by step how to do. You go from complete newbie to DeFi wizard pretty quickly. Now, like I said, like I'm only charging $100 for the course. In 4 days, on a small $2,200 in this wallet, I've earned $64. Half of it in Bitcoin, half in stablecoin. And over the last 30 days, roughly 30 days, I've earned over $600 in Bitcoin and stablecoin. Oh, and it's giving me points. Why would it give me points? Because this site doesn't have a coin yet. So when it does have a coin, it's going to give me some of its coin for free. It's called an airdrop. I mean, $100, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous to even hesitate. This would be the first cycle ETH SOL XRP haven't made multiplex on previous cycle. It is, that's right. And which gives me more reason to just stay the fuck away from altcoins and just get Bitcoin. I mean, let me ask you, if the only thing you did your entire crypto journey, no matter when you started, I don't care if it's 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, if the only thing you did was buy Bitcoin your entire crypto journey, would your portfolio look better today than it does? Probably. So that's always been the case. So I just don't see that changing. And the only thing I really know for sure is that Bitcoin is going to continue going up over time. It's only gone up its entire existence. It's been in a perpetual uptrend. That doesn't mean a straight line. It goes high, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher. That's what it's done its entire existence. I'm not going to say that's going to change. Think in 10 years. I don't see a world where Bitcoin's in 10 years, at worst, $500,000, but probably closer to $1 million or more. $500,000 to $1 million. It's like as sure of a bet as I can possibly make. And because I know how to use DeFi, which I'm less than 1% of people in crypto know how to use DeFi, the opportunity is still absurd. So here I am accumulating Bitcoin for free every day. Stablecoin for free every day. If you prefer Ethereum and Solana, you can be earning those too. At a yield of, today the yield's a bit lower. It's on the lower end today and it's still around 50%. Normally, like yesterday, I was earning 250%. Day before that, 250%. But typically it's somewhere between 100 and 150%. My Bitcoin is just passively turning into more Bitcoin. My stable coin is just passively turning into more stable coin. And ETH and Solana can do that too. I show you how to do that in the training. I'm sure you see how that would massively, massively benefit you. So go spend $100. While I'm on the stream, it's $97.99, dailycryptobull.com. When the stream is over, it's going back up to 1,000. It's still well worth 1,000. I mean, where else? Where else can you learn how to take $2,200 and turn it into $600 in a month? Even if you pay the $1,000, you're going to have your money back within a couple months. Not to mention what the Bitcoin value that you've earned is going to be worth in the future. So $100, I mean, come on. I earned $64 in 4 days on a small position. I show you how to do exactly this and a number of other things. The best things. dailycryptobull.com. Take a screenshot of the link. I'm going to end the stream in a little bit. That means the price is going to go back up. And by the way, like once you get it, you're going to have instant access to it because you'll end up right here on this thank you page. And that right there will take you, like when you're done checking out, you'll be on the thank you page. Click that, it'll bring you straight to the trainings. It'll bring you right over here. And look at that weird face. I mean, hell, I show you how to get up to $100 in free Bitcoin before you even do the training. And the course only costs $97.99. There's all videos step by step how to do all this stuff and use my favorite sites that I found in my 5 years of doing DeFi. And DeFi's only been around like 6 years. So you're not gonna find many people with more experience than me when it comes to DeFi. Anyways, but that's my story, is where it looks to me that all signs, all probabilities point to that we're in a bear market. And the most likely next move is a bounce up to the 200-day moving average, which is about 107 right now. But depending on when it gets there, you know, give or take a couple $1,000s. The thing that would invalidate all of this is if Bitcoin price on the weekly chart closes above the 200-day moving average, and then within the next few weeks has another weekly close that is higher than the highest point of that first candle. That would be a confirmed breakout. That would be fantastic. I'm for it. But until that happens, all the probabilities point bearish. And that's the only thing that's going to shift me. Hard to say when coins like Jupe are so cheap. I'm done with altcoins. I'm done. Like I said, if all you did your entire crypto career was buy Bitcoin, would your portfolio look better today than it does? Would you have had a much more enjoyable bull cycle if all you did was buy Bitcoin? Yeah. That's only going to become more pronounced. We didn't have an altcoin season. We had moments of pockets of alts outperform Bitcoin very temporarily. Many of them didn't even make new all-time highs. Not even for this cycle. And I love Jupiter. It makes money. But when I say that we're in a bear market downtrend, nothing's safe. Right? If I think Bitcoin's gonna go down another 50% from here, what's your fucking altcoin? What's any altcoin gonna do? It's gonna go down more. So I'm not interested in buying any altcoins. In a downtrend, no. I'll think about it when I think that we've actually bottomed. But regardless, that will be such a tiny, tiny piece of my portfolio. Jupiter will be on the list probably, but subject to change. Who knows what happens between now and then? Hyperliquid is another one, but who knows what happens between now and then? What I do know is Bitcoin's gonna be Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's gonna do what it's always done, which is be in a perpetual, lifelong, basically uptrend. That's me. What if the break of structure is manipulation? It doesn't matter why the structure broke. It's just that it broke. There's manipulation constantly in the markets. That's not a new thing. And if you're thinking that it's some kind of fake out to make everyone sell their Bitcoin, Bitcoin is just too big now for it to be manipulated by a small number of players in that way. It looks like it's just doing what it's always done. And manipulation is always around. It doesn't matter why it broke structure. It just matters that it did. Hope that makes sense. Hit the follow button if you haven't. Be sure to turn on notifications because, I'd like to do more lives from YouTube and incredibly lower attendance than I get over on TikTok. But it is what it is. ETH should have 2x to 1012. Well, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I mean, what happens when we go shouldn't all over ourselves? It's not fun. I agree. I thought ETH would hit 8 to 12. It didn't. And I'm not going to live in that past. I thought Solana would push 1,000. It didn't. Both of them barely made new all-time highs. Well, Bitcoin just kept chugging along, making a significant higher high, going from 69,000 to 126. And if you bought in the bear market, you could have been snagging Bitcoin for under 20 grand for several months. But most people are too scared. And that's another thing too, about identifying the downtrend early and shifting your strategy like I have, is that I have to sit on my hands. But it's a lot easier when I know that I'm passively for free getting Bitcoin every day, right? I'm like, cool. And I'm passively for free getting stablecoin every day, which I'm going to use to buy Bitcoin in the future. But I can just sit on my hands. I don't have to pay attention to much because this looks like a downtrend. All I need to do is pay attention to when Bitcoin comes to the 200-day moving average, then I got to start paying attention. Because if it breaks out of it, well, then I got to, not that I would shift my strategy, because listen, whether Bitcoin price is going up or down, would there ever be a time when you wouldn't want to be getting free Bitcoin every day? Does it matter what Bitcoin price is doing? Would you say, Bitcoin price is going up, I don't want to get free Bitcoin. Bitcoin price is going down, I don't want to get free Bitcoin. You would never say that. So regardless of what it does, getting free Bitcoin and stablecoin every day is one of the most powerful, amazing things you can do. And this opportunity, it's not going to be around forever. On $2,200, I've earned over $600, about half in Bitcoin, half in stablecoin. And I took my stablecoin and I put it over mostly in here. Are they gonna make me sign something? I don't want to sign it. I don't want to do that right now. Well, I have over here some stuff, getting some yield. I should probably move it over to this one where I can get closer to 10%. But I'm just building stablecoin and depositing it in Be the Bank strategy where I'm getting about 10%. Where everyone else's money's sitting in the bank earning them 0. And do you know when you deposit money in the bank, you're lending the bank money? They get to borrow your money for free. Actually, for many of you, they might charge you a checking fee. They charge you to borrow your money. And that money you see, that deposit, that balance, that's not your money. That's their money, and that's how much they owe you. But they don't always have to repay it because it's their money. It's always their money. Unless you earn cash, gold, or Bitcoin, or in DeFi, it's all the bank's money, all of it. It's never yours. Intentional suppression for institutional accumulation, maybe not. I think that people put too much focus on that type of stuff. Tell me, why does it matter? If they're manipulating to accumulate, what do they want if that's what they're doing, then what do they want the price to do long term? They want it to go up, and they want to get as much of it as they can. So good if they are. All I know is it looks like we're in a downtrend. That's all I know. It looks like the bear market is on. And you can find all kinds of other reasons, like, they started QE. There's going to be a new Fed chair, the crypto market bill, liquidity, all this stuff. And it's just probably not going to matter. Because what if you're saying it, no offense, or if I'm saying it, like, if we're getting excited about something or thinking that we're planning for the future because of this thing we know, well, then everyone fucking knows it. And you want to know what? It's already priced in. So when it happens, the market will fucking plummet, just like it always does. Hence, buy the rumor, sell the event. But long term, Bitcoin goes up. That's all I know. So I try not to think too hard about it. Oh, there's a way to just get free Bitcoin every day, passively? Yeah, I don't have to think about that. I just set it and forget it. And I check it, once a day. And I'm like, how much free Bitcoin did I earn since the last time I checked it? How much free stablecoin did I earn since the last time I checked it? Your life changes. Your stress level changes. That's all I'm saying. When it's over, we go parabolic. Trust me, bro. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna be on here for like 5 more minutes. And go over to dailycryptobull.com. Get this damn course. Go invest $100 in yourself, $97.99. When I'm done with this stream, it's going back to $1,000. $97.99. Go invest in yourself. We're all guilty of blowing way more than that at the bar on a weekend. And that doesn't give any ROI. This is ROI. You can implement this stuff today. You could literally implement this stuff today. If you wanted, you could go straight to, the Rabby wallet training and setup, and then go straight over to the first Be the House, because that's the one I'm doing over here. You could have this thing set up today. Not to mention, these links right here give you up to $100 in free Bitcoin, right? So before you even start the training, you get your money back in Bitcoin. There's nothing to think about. Step-by-step trainings, perfect for complete newbies. That's who I made it for. Not even $100 for 5 more minutes, and it's $1,000. Still well worth that. On a small $2,200 position, I've been sitting here passively earning over the last 30 days, roughly, and I've earned over $600, half in Bitcoin, half in stablecoin. A year from now, think about what that's going to be. And let me tell you a secret. I have other wallets with much bigger positions. That's my teaching wallet. I show that with a small amount of money so that anyone that sees it goes, shit, most people that see it go, I could do that. I have that much money. Wow, I can get that kind of return. Whereas if someone comes along and shows you a 6, 7, 8-figure position, it gets your attention, but it actually hurts you because you're like, I can't do that. I won't be able to do that. It's not worth doing anything because I can't do that much. So I show you an amount you can do. Over the past month, you could earn $600 in Bitcoin and stablecoin. Over the past year, you could have earned probably $6,000 by doing nothing. You just got to acquire the asset, the skill. And that's what the course is for, to give you the skill, which is now an asset for you. Go buy the asset. Go buy the skill, $98. All right. Not many people left on here. Zion, you might be the only one. I'll just sit here for another couple minutes, see if there's any other questions, and then I'll end it, which also means the price goes back up. Any other questions? The thing's telling me there's 2 people on here. Any last questions about Bitcoin or the markets or DeFi or the course or anything? I'm heading out. For the one person left on here, in case you just got here, I'm gonna leave for about 10 to 15 minutes after the stream. I'm gonna leave the discount up of 98 bucks. Shows you how to do things like this, right? Where over the last 30 days, I took $2,200 roughly and made 600 in fees, which was paid to me in Bitcoin and stablecoin. Over the last 4 days, I've earned $64. So I'll leave that up for like 10, 15 minutes after the stream, which I'm gonna end right now. Just listing you're a beginner. Yeah, okay, so there is a new person on here. Well, if you like the idea of being Coinbase, earning fees from people doing transactions in DeFi, if you like the idea of earning Bitcoin and stablecoin passively every day, again, over the last 30 days on $2,200, I've earned over $600 in Bitcoin and Tether. I show you how to do that in this training over here, and a whole lot more. That's one thing that I did in the strategy I call being Coinbase. And then there's also a be the house strategy, which is getting yield on stablecoin by being the house, and be the bank, which is also getting yield on stablecoin by being the bank. Videos step by step. So it's made for complete newbies. You don't have to know anything. It brings you step by step into being able to do these things. And you could literally be in that position where I'm earning the Bitcoin and stablecoin. You can literally have that set up today in a matter of a couple hours. You watch a couple videos. If you wanted to get into that exact one, all you got to do, come in here, watch this video to set up your wallet, and then go down to Be Coinbase and watch the first video. But do not skip these, right? If you don't have a Coinbase account yet, this link will give you 30 bucks in Bitcoin. If you don't have a Gemini account, this one will give you 50 in Bitcoin. And if you don't have a Fold account, this one will give you 20. You can get up to $100 in free Bitcoin right off the bat. And I'm not even charging 100 bucks. dailycryptobull.com. But I've been on here for over an hour, so I'm gonna end the stream. I'm gonna leave that discount up for like 10 to 15 more minutes after the stream. And by the way, if you go through the course and you're like, this wasn't worth 100 bucks, I'll give you your money back. Because I don't want anything to hold you back. Well, they give it to us for free. No. I've given away amazing things for free. The problem is nobody uses it. But I find when people pay for things, they pay attention. They pay effort. They pay focus. They pay priority. And I want you to do this stuff. So you got to invest in yourself a little bit. Fair enough? All right, y'all. I'm out. There's the link one more time. Take a screenshot if that helps you. I am out of here.